Hello ladies, so welcome to our next video for foundations. This video is on how to form the nominative and accusative case endings in the singular and the plural. So we learned in the last video that the nominative and the accusative show that the Latin noun is functioning as the subject and the direct object. But in order to identify a Latin noun as nominative or accusative, you need to know what the endings are, and that's what we're going to learn today. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. When you want to put a noun into all of its possible cases, that is called declining a noun. So sort of like how verbs conjugate, nouns in Latin decline. Here's the thing, not all nouns decline the same way. So just like in Spanish or in French, different verbs will conjugate in different ways. Well, in Latin, different nouns will decline in different ways. The pattern of endings that nouns can go into are called declensions, and there are 5 different patterns or 5 declensions. Now, we're not going to learn all 5 declensions today. The truth is that the very mass majority of Latin nouns fall into the first, second, or third declension. So those are the only endings that we really need to worry about. But all nouns do fall into one of the 5 declensions. It's just the majority of them fall into 1, 2, or 3. Now, how do you know what declension a noun is in? Well, for that, you need to learn the dictionary entry. Okay, so when you learn a new noun, you will learn the dictionary entry, which is the nominative singular and the genitive singular. So in our example word, puella, puellae, puella is our nominative singular form, and puellae is our genitive singular form. And it's from this genitive form that we find what declension the noun is in. As you can see here, puellae ends in an AE and it's genitive, so it is first declension. In each declension, each of the 5 different declensions has its own endings for each case. So why don't we write down the following words, and then next to them tell me what declension do you think each of these words are. So what declension do you think puella, puellae, girl is? Puer, pueri, boy. Weir, weary, man. Femina, feminae, woman. Homo, hominis, human being. Uxor, uxoris, wife. Equus, equi, horse. Auctor, auctorus, author. Filia, filiae, a daughter. Filius, filii, a son. Okay, here are the declensions that they fall into. So any of these nouns that end in an AE in its genitive form, such as puellae, feminae, and filiae, are first declension. Any of the nouns that end in a long I, like pueri, weary, equi, and filii, are second declension. And any of the nouns that end in an IS, such as hominis, uxoris, and auctorus, are third declension. Okay, so there are 3 pieces of information that you need to know in order to decline a noun. The first one, in what we just reviewed, is what declension the noun is in, because you got to know which endings you're going to put on it. That leads us to the second one. Once you know what declension the noun is in, you need to know what the case endings for that declension are. And then on those endings are going to go on to the noun base. So the last thing you need to know is how do you get the noun base for any Latin noun. And it works the same way for all Latin nouns. To get the noun base, you remove the ending from the genitive singular form. So you take the genitive singular form, such as puellae, pueri, weary, feminae, hominis, uxoris, equi, auctoris, filii, filii, bibonus, I have a new one on here, and moris, another one, and you remove the genitive ending. So please, after you write these words into your notes, tell me what you think the noun base is going to be. You might want to hit pause, give yourself a little time. Hey, welcome back from pause. I assume you pushed pause. And so on the next slide, I have the answers. You take the genitive ending off of puelli and you get puel. Now, you'll notice that for some of these nouns, it wouldn't really matter if you took the nominative or the genitive ending off because you'd get the same noun base. You know, puella, you take the A off, you get puel. Puelli, you take the I off, you get the puel. There you go. But for some of these nouns, it's very important, especially with something like the third declension where you have so many different options to what your nominative can be, that really the genitive is what you really need to know. And you really have to be careful to take the genitive ending off to get your noun base, because if you took the nominative ending off, your noun base would be ham, but the noun base is actually hamen, right? Because you get it from its genitive form. All right, the last piece of information you need in order to decline the nouns, at least in the nominative and accusative cases, are the endings. So here you go. For first declension nouns, the singular nominative ending is an A. The plural nominative ending is an AE, which is, by the way, in Latin pronounced I. For the second declension, you have a choice. Well, you don't have the choice. The Latin nouns themselves have a choice. They can either end in a US or an R, but either way, their plural is a long I, at least for second declension masculine nouns. Latin does have gender for its nouns, and we're not going to talk about the neuter gender just yet, but just know that it's out there. The only little hiccup here is the third declension, because they have so many different options for the nominative singular ending that it's not even worth it to list them all here. Just know that whatever the dictionary entry says is the nominative, right? And the plural for the nominative is then ES. That's what you're going to add on to that noun base. Accusative endings. First declension, in the singular, as in the plural. Second declension, in the singular, os in the plural. And third declension, in the singular and ace in the plural. So this slide, I just gave you some examples. I give you all the information you would need in order to form these nouns. So for example, here's the dictionary entry, puella, puelli. From that, we get the noun base puel by taking the AE ending off. And then we just put those endings that we learned on the last slide on. Nominative singular is puella, puelli in the plural. Accusative is puellam, puellas. Same for our noun puer. Our dictionary entry puer, pueri gives us as our noun base puer from removing this ending. The nominative singular is puer, which we get from the dictionary entry. And the nominative plural is pueri. The accusative singular is puerum, and the accusative plural is pueros. Now again, remember, with third declension nouns, you need to be pretty on the ball. The first form in the dictionary entry, homo, is the nominative singular. So that's what our nominative singular is. That's a human being. But we get our noun base from taking the is off of the genitive form. So our noun base is hominis. We take the is off, get homin, and then we put our nominative plural ending on. So nominative homo, homines. Accusative homonym, homines, because we put that accusative ending onto the noun base. And then our last example is filius, filii. The noun base, is fili, so it's filiis, filii, and then in the accusative, filium, filios. All right, ladies, thank you so much for your attention. Bring your notes into class tomorrow, and we'll have a little exercise to make sure you understand the lesson. Have a good night.